Welcome back to this series of courses on the World Domination Custom Cabinetry app. This app is a Notion template that you can download and use for your own company. You will rename it. So in our last session I talked about renaming it, but I didn't actually tell you how. So if we look here at our WDCC version 004, we have that listed several times. This is the parent page, the very top level page, and then we have our external area, our internal area, and our admin area, and each of those would need to be renamed. And to rename any area, just click on the three dots to the right and you'll see your option here to rename, and then you would just replace the portion that says WDCC. It's still nice for you to know which version you're in, especially if we're working together and I just need to know what version you're in. So just replace the WDCC with your company name. And typically you don't need to put in like Kingdom Custom Cabinetry, just Kingdom is sufficient, or Smith's, or something that just distinguishes yours from another. A lot of the guys invite me into theirs, and you'll see here when I look at my workspace, and so you see we've just got these shortened versions: Michael's Notion, Aaron's Notion, Wayne's Notion, Chris's Notion. So just be aware that you can rename that portion of it. Today we're going to talk about the various pages on the data page: the images, ballpark rates, elicitations, and appliances. So in this images section, this current version has quite a few, not a ton, but quite a few images here, and they have currently been grouped. So we have chosen to group them by project. So we see here the Buckley Kitchen, Chapman Lot 114, Radius 17B. Now I know we have 4 projects in here, so one of them doesn't have any images. So typically you will not enter data here. You will enter images on the project page of a particular project. This is just where these images are stored. To add new images, we would use the new button. Again, we wouldn't necessarily do it from here. I'm going to do it from here because it works exactly the same. If we were going to add a new image, we would click New, and then we would give it a name. So let's just say test. But because we added this image from within this project, it's already linked to that project, so we don't have to link it. The same thing would be true if we added the image from the project page. But we do need to say which group we want it in. So using the status, we would come in here and say that we want this to be in one of these groupings. These are like our before pictures of the project, or maybe our job site conditions. Sometimes we want to know what kind of shape the job's in. And then our machining process, assembly, finish, hardware. These sections aren't necessarily used a lot by everyone, but I did use them as kind of a sales tool. I found that it was beneficial for me to put a few pictures up when we started machining and send them to the client at lunchtime, because they might be at lunch with someone and they might show those to family and friends that they might be having lunch with that might need cabinets at some point in the future. But the installation, I always did that. Every time I was doing an install, not only was I posting pictures to social media as I was installing, I was also sending them an invitation to see the pictures that we had added to their project. And then the after complete gives you this place to store your pictures, so that when you are doing social media posts or when you're trying to look for a particular job, everything's in one place. It's not just this big giant folder of job pictures, it's all the pictures for this project in one place. So it's a really good way of doing that. But if we were going to add a new picture now, we've given it a name, and we'll just say this is a before shot. And then we'll come down here and say we want to add a new image. It loads that particular block, and we'll talk more about blocks and how the blocks work in some of our Notion courses. But we would say I want to add an image, and I can embed a link. I can grab an image from Upsplash, which is just a website with a bunch of images on it, and you can search by image type, or I can upload something. So if I come to the upload images, it looks like I have a couple appliance images sitting on my desktop, so I'll just grab one of those just for the sake of grabbing it. And so now we have this, looks like a double oven image added as a test image 001, and then we see that in our images for the Buckley Kitchen. So that's how you would do it from your computer and possibly even your tablet using the gallery. Anytime we want to add an image to the gallery, we just use this new button wherever we're at viewing that gallery. Next, we'll look at adding images from a smartphone or tablet using the Notion app. So let's look at how we would do this with a phone or tablet. So I'm going into my projects group, touching Notion, and I'm going down to projects. Then I'm going to choose that Radius Condo 17B. Then I'm going to scroll to my table of contents. And and then I'm going to touch images. Takes me down to my image group, and now I have two options. I can use that new button that we see, or add an image. I want to use that new button for what we're doing here, but the add the image would just add an image to the projects page, and it would not be in the database or in the gallery database. So now I'm touching that new button, and then we will type in the name of our image. In this case, I'm just using the name of the job or project, or a version of the name of the project. And because we did this from here, you can see it's already linked to the project. We don't have to answer that question. And because we did it from within a status group of before job site, the before job site is also already filled in for us, but we could also choose another one if we wanted it to be somewhere else. And then you see down below the tap here to continue. We tap that to move to the next piece of this. And then you see a little icon down there that looks like an image. So there's a plus, and then there's a circular arrows type thing, and then an image and an @ sign. We're going to touch that image icon to actually add our image. And then we choose take photo or video, but we could choose any of those options, choose files or photo library from the phone or tablet itself. But we're going to choose take photo or video. Then we're going to take a picture of what it is we want to add to this gallery. So we're going to get where we want to be, touch the photo, and we touched the use this image. Now the image is in the gallery. If we want to return to our project, we touch the project name and then scroll to TOC again, or table of contents again, then touch image again to go down and see what we did. And then we can see here that it is in the before group. Now we're going to scroll down through these groups till we get to the installation part of it, because there's some more images down here just to see that those are there. And so we see those images down in this installation portion. And then we'll just return to our PC. Next in our list is the ballpark rates. Typically, you will not be using this area on a daily basis. It will be used to add your rates on an annual basis. So typically you would look at this once a year and add or edit the rates that are here. Now when you get it, it'll have some rates in it, and you can see what we've done here. So we've come in here and said, okay, so for the cabinet cost for less than or equal to 2 cabinets, these are our 3 rates. For 3 to 10 cabinets, these are our 3 rates. And for more or greater than 10 cabinets, these are our 3 rates. And these are our real rates that we talked about in previous courses, that this was our least expensive or next to least expensive project for the past year. This was our next to most expensive project for the previous year, and this was the average of all of our projects for the year. And so each year you'd want to review this and make sure you don't need to bump it up or bump it down. And we have this additional one here for you to add your own, keeping these as kind of a monkey see, monkey do, rather than delete these out and not have those rates available to you, because you can pick any of these at the project level. So you could come in and build 3 more if you wanted to. So to edit this one, you just literally click in here and change the name, and then add a price here, a number here, add a number here, add a number here, and then as you link jobs, you'll see those jobs linked here. If you wanted a second and third version to kind of duplicate what we did there, and you didn't want to edit these, then you would just click on the 6 dots in front of this one right there and say duplicate, and then make that your second one, and then do it again and make that your third one. So again, you won't use this on a daily basis. You'll just use it once a year to kind of get the rates in there, and then we'll grab them and use them every time we create a ballpark estimate for a project. Then up next is the elicitations. Again, typically you will not use or enter data here. You'll enter the data at the projects or contacts area. This is just where these elicitations are stored. The objective of elicitations is to manage the things we need to proceed. We always put that in cap locks everywhere we put it, basically trying to elicit information from our customers. Someone or several someones in your company should be responsible for managing this area. And managing this area well means making more money now and in the future, and the converse, not managing this well, means making less money now and in the future, typically. That's what that translates into. So these elicitations, okay, since there's nothing here, we will jump over into another version, someone else's version that actually has something in it. We'll jump down to elicitations, and we can see a fairly long list of elicitations. and we can see who it was directed to, what it is. In this case, we're looking for some appliance specifications. We asked this question on June 30th, 2022. We haven't gotten an answer yet. This is a medium priority in this particular project, and at some point it will be escalated to a high priority as we get closer to the delivery date if we haven't gotten it yet. And then at some point it will hold up the job or affect the delivery date on the job. At this point, it's possible, if they don't get us this sooner than later, that it could. And so you just see a long list of these different elicitations, some requiring some sort of additional information here. We're asking for something like the crown mold height. We don't really need to put in any additional notes. That's just what we need. That's the answer we need, is what is the crown mold height. So these are the elicitations. Next up, we have appliances. We'll jump back into our sample version, or the version you would receive if you order this app. So this is the list of appliances. One more time. Typically, you will not enter data here. Most of the time, you'll add the data as you're adding a new appliance at the project level. And we kind of did that, but I'm going to kind of walk through a little shortened version of that here in a second. But the objective here is just, this is the storage place for these appliances. So we have an appliance open, one that I haven't kind of finished, but I'm always going to use the model number. So just imagine that this was a blank screen. I would put this model number in here. Then I would choose the brand. If the brand is not in my list, I'm going to add the brand, and then I'm going to sort it into alphabetical order just so it's easier to find the next time I use it. Then I'm going to add what type of refrigerator it is. I do want to try to keep from having the same word done in different ways. In other words, I wouldn't want to have refrigerator spelled out and then REF in a shortened version and any other abbreviation that I might imagine or dream up. So I want to try to make sure I don't end up with dishwasher and DW. We do distinguish here between a dish drawer and a dishwasher, but we want to try to keep this list as compact as possible. And then we would not, if we were adding here, link to a room. If we were in a room, it would actually link it as we go. So we wouldn't even have to do that. Then we want to find the specifications and add them here, and all you've got to do is just get the file and then drag it into this field, and that's all you have to do that. And we'll look at a couple of these. So this one I intentionally haven't finished. I wanted to have some of it done just for the sake of time, but I intentionally haven't finished it. So if you come to a new one, you will need to hit this new appliance. This icon will not be there until you hit this option to say new appliance. Once you do that, your cursor is sitting here and it is ready for you to bring any additional information in. So the first thing I want for this thing is to find this appliance. So I'm going to highlight it. So we will jump over here into Google and we'll search for that appliance. So this is part of that signature suite apparently. So we can click on that. We've got this refrigerator now. So this is the refrigerator. First thing I want to do is save this image, find a good image of it and save the image as. And I do have my own, here's all the images I've saved up to this point. I do kind of have my own way of naming these. It doesn't matter what it is, just so you do it the same way each time. So this is a refrigerator, so I am going to shorten to REF in my name, underscore. It happens to be this signature line. And then I had already copied that model number, so I can just paste it in there. And I want it as a JPEG or a PNG file, some sort of image file. As long as it's an image file, I can save it. So as soon as that pops down here and I have this, if I have multiple screens open, so if I took this appliance we're trying to add right here and slid that out where I can see it and get to it, so I just took the tab and drug it out of this window and created my own window with just that. And so as long as this cursor is sitting here, I can just grab that. I am going to have to minimize this window so my other window doesn't go away. You do that. So now I can just grab that and drag it over to here, and you can see the little blue line. The blue line means that's where it's going to drop it, and that will stick that image right there. So now that image is inside of this appliance. Now I can take this window and drag it back up into here where I want it, and then I can make this full screen again. And so that's in there. And then the next piece of that I want is wherever I got this information, I want to grab that website address. So I'm going to Control-C or copy, go back to that appliance and put that into more info. So I can just jump back to that website next time I want to. And then if I want to take the time, if I've got to engineer this project, I might not do this at design. Maybe I would only do it at engineering. But if I'm going to take the time to figure out what the opening width, height, and depth is of the appliance at some point, I'm going to go ahead and add that in here, and you'll find a lot of them in here will already have that. If they have available a DWG or a DXF, and you can import those into your design software. This is a good place to store that till you're ready, and then you can just bring it in when you're actually doing the design and have it available. And again, we'll link to rooms at the room level if we do that. So that's how you would add a new appliance. And again, if we have this window open, this happens to be the last one in the list. If we have the window open and we're not in this full screen, we can actually pop through the different ones. And there's a couple here that I left undone intentionally as an example. So that's how you add a new appliance. And that's it for this video course. Up next, we will add a sample company, contact, project, and a room. Thanks for watching.